Ladies and gentlemen, comrades, and fellow enemies of totalitarianism, there is something almost drearily predictable, something boringly cyclical about tyranny. Like mildew or religious fundamentalism, it never truly dies. It merely waits for its next moment to fester. And so here we are, again. In the cold, grey corridors of Slavic imperial nostalgia, we find Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, a former KGB goon with the heart of a mafioso and the aspirations of a Romanov. A man who has made a hobby of murdering journalists, jailing dissenters, and plundering his own people, all while selling the West its own illusions back at inflated gas prices. Let us be absolutely clear, lest any dullard attempt to muddy the waters with the usual bleating relativism. Ukraine is not the aggressor. Ukraine is not the invader. Ukraine is not the aspiring empire. Ukraine, in fact, is guilty only of the crime of aspiring toward Europe, of aspiring to be less like Russia, and for that it has been sentenced by Mr. Putin to fire, to famine, and to death. Now I can already hear the braying chorus of the so-called anti-imperialist left, who, in their zeal to oppose American power, will excuse any atrocity as long as it is committed by someone in a different colored uniform. They will say that NATO expanded too far, that we provoked the bear. Well, I'm sorry, but no. If your instinct when watching a sovereign democracy being dismembered is to dig through the archives for Western missteps, then you are not an anti-imperialist. You are merely anti-Western, and you have confused cynicism for principle. Ask yourselves, who is bombing civilian apartments? Who is abducting children? Who is threatening the use of nuclear weapons, not as a deterrent, but as a leash? Who speaks of a greater Russia as if 1991 were an administrative error? It is Mr. Putin, and nobody else. And unless you wish to live in a world where borders are merely suggestions and might is the only law, you had better say so without equivocation. And what of Ukraine? Ah, Ukraine. A land so often a victim of geography, now made into a battlefield for the soul of Europe. I say this, arm them, support them, celebrate them, for they are doing, whether they ask for the burden or not, what far too few in the West are willing to do anymore. They are resisting barbarism. You may remember a certain British Prime Minister, now unfashionable in many circles, who once said that appeasement is the policy of feeding a crocodile, hoping it eats you last. We have fed the crocodile long enough. So, let us not wring our hands or stroke our beards about the complexity of the matter. This is not complicated. This is not subtle. This is not a time for nuance. A tyrant is attempting to erase a nation from the map, and if he succeeds, he will not stop. Tyrants never do. History shows us this with bloody consistency. Choose your side, and choose it well. For neutrality in the face of such aggression is not balance. It is cowardice. Thank you.